right, guys. Hey, good morning. We have our number 11, episode 11 Cummings cast with my man Mark Novak here.
All right, let's go.
Bel Air office.
11, I like it.
Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, man.
Looking
Glad to be
super
here.
sharp today. I like that. But look, at the guy is representing the blue and gold for this Cummings cast like no other. Mark's always been a bit of a sharp dresser, right?
Everything matters, man. And you know, I noticed that if you're going to take that philosophy, you got to take it in everything you do.
Yeah.
And the only thing I can control in this business is how I show up. So I want to show up every day and let people know that I'm there to look out for them, and I take this business serious.
Yeah, I bet you do.
That's my thought. I just think that how you show up matters.
He showed up with this Starbucks coffee for me, which I really appreciate. So.
You always got to come with one hand shorter than the other, right?
There you go. Thank you. So, Mark's out of our Bel Air office. Join me when we pretty much opened the Bel Air office, which was just like, I guess it's like 8 years now.
Yeah, I made a commitment to join in 2016. I was...
so a little bit of your background. So, how many years total in the business now?
I've actually got licensed in 2001. I've been doing it full time since 2005.
Started at 05. Yeah, I started at 03. Okay, so 05. So
between 2001 and 2005, I was still, waiting tables.
Yeah,
I was still working construction. I was doing whatever I could
because
go to
college or no?
I had a family to take care of. I hate to say it, but yes, I also went to Towson.
Did you? Yes.
I'm probably the only one that went there for 3 years and finished with the same number of credits he started with. But other than that, I did learn a lot about, philosophy and, macro, microeconomics and things like that. Things that grounded me and gave me an idea that if there's anything I truly want to understand, if I find the right book, I can learn pretty much anything.
Yeah.
And I learned that in college.
So you read a lot?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, business books, all types of books?
Yeah, I can't tell you how many books on like mindset, improvement, leadership, business.
Yeah. You do have a lot of books on your bookshelves in your office in Bel Air.
Oh yeah. Well,
Do you read at night?
It started with my first mentor, Floyd Wickman. He got me into reading. I saw the power in it. Like, I didn't really start reading until I was 25.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
did the restaurant grind, which I did as well, which I think is great for cutting your teeth in this industry to kind of learn the whole customer service thing. So did you start? I know you came to me from Remax, American Dream.
And honestly, I felt like I bled red, white, and blue. So I was probably never going to leave Remax, and I had this kind of goal, and I wanted to be number one in the Mid-Atlantic region. I made it to number one individual as for the Baltimore Metro for Remax. But I wanted number one in the Mid-Atlantic, and I realized in 2016 I was kind of like getting to a point where I don't know how I'm going to do this because I had an incredible year, and I was still like number 4, I think. And the guys ahead of me were like, they had done maybe a fifth of the transactions, but their numbers were like 3 or 4 times higher. So I was like, unless I move to DC, I'm never going to catch these guys because they were all in DC.
Yeah, that's a tough thing. The one thing I've always talked about you and other people is sometimes having a lower sales price volume or whatever is not always such a bad thing. If you like, so Mark was the number one individual agent in 2019.
Yeah, that was.
And how much business did you do that year in the 20 million range?
It was like 20 to 25 million. I can't remember.
And how many units was that?
It was about 100 units.
100 units. So like that is the thing where I've always said that there is frustration having to do 100 units when somebody else can maybe only do 50. I think like in terms of like the ability to be able to like grow your referral tree, it's like if you do 50 deals a year, or a lot of people, let's say it's like 12 deals a year and they're all high end, but then somebody else that does 24 deals a year and maybe they're in the 300 to 500 range. It's like if you have more units, you can't always look at it as a negative. That's more connections and relationships to hopefully get more referrals. So you sort of like secure yourself because now you have 100 people that you just did transactions with last year that hopefully they're going to refer you to somebody this year. So it kind of helps build your pipeline by doing more units, in my opinion.
Absolutely, especially if you take the philosophy that I've always taken. I'm really trying to provide an exceptional experience, whether you're buying your house or whether you're selling your house. My focus has never been on how many deals I'm doing or where I'm at. I just figure if I take care of enough people, the numbers will take care of themselves. I just want to work and take care of the person that's sitting in front of me. And what are they trying to do, and how can I exceed that expectation? And, it's not, the focus isn't on how to grow my business in as much as it is my focus is on servicing my clients.
Yeah.
And the results speak for themselves. Last year I had an incredible year. Every single transaction was a repeat client or a referral.
That's great.
I'm getting to a point. I'm helping my clients' children buy homes, which blows my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
But I love it. It's amazing.
All right, so taking care of all your people, your 15 years of doing this keeps sort of compounding, building with more and more clients sort of in the pipeline. So what type of different stuff are you doing? I feel like you're creative, like in different things. Like, you were one of the first people like to share your location when you were coming to meet me somewhere. You're very like techie and stuff. You have like a lot of like little different things I feel like you do that are different than other people. I mean, how do you kind of relationship build with your clients, after the transaction over all these years, I guess?
When we talk about it's one of those things. People don't, one of the first rules in sales I learned a long time ago is people don't care what you know until they know that you care. Okay. And I've never really had to fake that caring aspect. And, when you tell somebody you're going to, get their house for $350 and, your goal is to, create an audience for the property and consolidate the access to create urgency and hopefully, get more than one person interested. If we get more than one person interested, the person who wants it most is probably going to give you more than what you're asking. Mm-hmm. And, since 2019 was the first year I actually averaged greater than 100% for a final sale price for the whole year.
Wow.
And last year it was almost 10% over for the whole year.
So you're tracking everything.
Oh, yeah, everything. You got to track and measure everything. Absolutely.
You're measuring everything. Yeah. And you do that via like a spreadsheet?
One of the books I think that helped me most in my business aspect, I think it's called Procrastinate on Purpose by Roy Vaden.
Procrastinate on Purpose, okay.
And it talks about automation and delegation, okay? And I've always wanted to, I figured if I wanted to build a team, that was ultimately always my goal. That's why I established Mark's Home Team in 2007, even though it was just me.
Yep.
But I have a team of people around me that help me.
Sure.
Everybody that gets me from a transaction from point A to point B is part of Mark's Home Team, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And I surround myself with exceptional people.
Whether you're like your lender, inspector,
who share my values.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you have that coordinated, I think it just people remember because I don't have any systematic approach to following up. I do, I reach out to people when they come across my mind and things like that. But I always emphasize the fact that I'm not here to just help you buy and sell buy smart and sell well. I'm there to help you be a good homeowner. Okay, so if there's anything you need through the life cycle of owning your property, I want to be you're dealing with people every day. When you do the kind of volume that we do at Cummings, you're relying on people, so you're able to weed out the ones that don't show up or do what they say they're going to do, or maybe they're charging a little too much for what that job is. You know what I mean? Right. Everybody has to eat. I don't work with the cheapest people. I'm not cheap.
Yeah.
But I bring value.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I have friends. I've sort of said the same thing to them, like that have previously had bought sold houses with me. It's like I had a guy reach out to me. He bought a little house in Medfield, which is like outside of Hamden years ago, and he's moved elsewhere since then or whatever. But like I always said, hey, I'm here whenever you need anything. Question. He's like power washer the other day, and I got him a power washer. The guy showed up like the next day. He was very happy with him. And that actually came off of our preferred vendor list because I didn't have like a go-to power washer myself. So I went on our page and did some Googling and said, hey, like I haven't worked with this person directly, but like he's got some good reviews from some other folks, and he gave him a good review as well. So yeah, it's funny how people, it's like, you tell them like, hey, I can be your resource, not just for like real estate questions, but just vendors, and they're appreciative, and that sometimes hopefully will come back and they'll refer somebody to me that I can then refer to you guys, kind of thing.
It is stressful being that guy because you're always they're an extension of me is the way I look at it. I really take it that serious. So if they fall short, I'm not happy.
I definitely always put in the caveat that it's like, hey, I can't, these are contractors. They're not, my direct employees or anything. I can't guarantee the quality and everything. If things don't go well, please, let me know so I don't refer them to anybody in the future or whatever. Right. So he had a good experience, but yeah. So it seems like you definitely have like a process though with your listings, maybe that
I have a process. I have a process for everything.
It seems like you definitely are trying to
procrastinate on.
To get to like that highest and best price, huh? So you like to build that sense of urgency on your listings.
Well,
so what are some of the steps you do on that? Because that seems like something you have a plan of action for.
I think you got to start with the why and the foundation, and one of the things that I appreciate most about our business is the fiduciary aspect, and a lot of people don't understand the implications of that. And being somebody who's, I've studied a lot of history, the founding of our country, moral law, legal law, all that kind of stuff, just understanding the significance of that relationship and what that entails. And I think
there's a lot riding on everybody's purchase and sale. I mean, there's a lot riding. There's a lot of things that can go wrong that could be catastrophic.
Yeah, and everybody, look, when you sell your home, that's an opportunity, especially in a market like we're in now, where, if you've owned your home, for 5 years, 10 years, there's a tremendous opportunity to bring in life-changing money that a lot of people are, at least the people that, I know, they're struggling.
Sure.
And, sometimes there's a little too much month at the end of the money. You know what I mean? So if you can give them an opportunity, if every $1,000 that I can put in their pocket, I just feel like I get a lot of juice for that.
Sure.
So, studying, learning, in the first seller's market I was ever a part of back in 2006, 2007, 2005, it was, the only thing that's going to make somebody want to pay more than what you're asking is if, number one, you've presented a product that everybody's going to want, right? So setting the stage properly, pricing it in where the market tells you it needs to be, right? And there's a lot that goes into that, right? Square foot, number of bathrooms, and how much does that impact financially? You got to understand all that.
Yeah.
So that you start with the right price, so that you grab the largest possible audience. But then everything else has to be calculated. You can't just list it on Friday, get an offer Friday, and take it. Like, if you list it Friday, you got to understand, look, we got to show this to the market, and it's going to take at least a weekend for everybody to see it. Now, I've been advertising this property for a week and a half now. I've had it in front of 30,000 people. Every agent that works in Baltimore knows it's coming, right? And when it hits the market, it hits with a lot of excitement.
Right. So you have it in Coming Soon Bright.
Oh, absolutely.
You like Coming Soon Bright.
Coming Soon, Bright. We have 24 business hours.
Yes.
Where we can market and try and grab exclusive audience. And that's an important period of time because I have something that nobody else has.
Yeah.
Right? So if you have an opportunity to see this house now before it's on Zillow or Realtor.com or Bright, and then you provide a method for them to click through and then, through retargeting and things like that, you can show them other ads.
Yes.
After you start your open house ads, things like that. So we have a process we list properties on Friday. We have an open house the first weekend. Our open houses are usually very well attended. My goal is at least 16 families through.
Okay.
I can't stand if I'm sitting there for 2 hours and I only talk to 2 people. I feel like I wasted my day.
Yeah.
Everything that goes into an open house, from advertising it ahead of time to the number of signs, the way my signs are placed, the way the balloons are placed on the sign, everything is specified and specific.
Yeah, that's great.
And the results speak for themselves.
And you get it on the market on Friday, like morning, first thing. Like you have it all prepped in the system.
Yeah,
like
if the house is vacant, I'll do Thursday.
Okay.
Okay. And it goes midnight, so it's available.
Yep.
People are waking up to the emails that new listing. If the house is occupied, I want to minimize the inconvenience for the seller. Most of my sellers have pets. They have families. And one of the biggest pain points is when you miss the mark and you don't set up the stage, you don't do all these things, and then your house is sitting for weeks, and you never know when that showing's going to come. You always got to make the house tidy.
Right.
I want all the lights on. I want everything ready. So give me the weekend. I'll have your house sold. You can go back to a normal routine, except for inspections and things like that.
Sure.
And I do a good volume of business, and 75% of the time, that's the outcome. When you look at my median days on market, half my properties are 4 days. If it goes, sometimes I've had a few properties that went beyond that,
right?
For whatever reason, but
so you're definitely hitting the right pricing point, in my opinion, too. Because one of the things that's like all the marketing, and all that stuff is very important, but like the price point is very key. Do you run into like button heads with sellers in terms of pricing, and how do you get around that when they're like, oh, we think we should be $25,000 higher, and like, oh great, well now we're going from like my $699 to $725, so now they're going over whatever that price threshold is, and it's kind of lose a lot of buyers. Like, how do you rein people in on the?
Fortunately, I haven't had to deal with that a lot recently.
People are pretty happy
I'm
with their
telling
sales
people,
price.
Well, most of them, your house is probably worth more than you think it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Is it worth that much right now as you're living? No. How you live and how you sell are two totally different things.
Yeah.
But if you help me, if you listen and follow my advice, and we set the stage, this is where I know we can be, right? Now, sometimes that comes with a monetary investment. I've had sellers like, I just settled one, and she's settling on her new home next week. I helped her purchase in 2011. The house was renovated when she purchased it, but that was 15 years ago almost.
Sure.
So it was, it was lived in. I worked with my contractors, and we completely renovated the property, put a new kitchen in.
Oh, wow.
We did the bathrooms, but the delta was there.
Yeah.
Right? Like if we would have put the house on as is, it's right on Parkside, across from Herring Run Park. Mm-hmm. Probably would have been around 160 to 170.
Yeah.
And we sold it for 265.
That's great.
So we got
to keep these lights moving. got to keep moving here. These lights shut off on us. Sorry about that, guys, but we're still here. Yeah. So you have a group of contractors, painters. You even do kitchen renovations. So yeah, I mean,
we'll do everything from minor cleaning to whatever you need. Some people want to do it themselves, what have you.
Yeah.
I got a client that we just got their house under contract Monday, and he did all the work himself. But he's a very handy guy.
Yeah. So you gave him a list, and like this would be huge.
We gave him some suggestions, right?
Yep.
Like the house was previously listed, and it didn't sell. And we added a dishwasher, and he seamlessly did a beautiful job. Added a closet upstairs where it was previously open. Just some minor things, nothing crazy. Mm-hmm. We sold it for more than what it was previously listed for, and we did it in my 3 days. We listed it Friday, sold it Monday.
That's awesome. Good job.
I mean, still, God willing, it gets the settlement. There's still a lot of things that have to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, what are some different challenges I guess you've faced over the years that you've like any failures? Like I know you've worked with Zillow in the past before.
No, I think my biggest failure was trying to step into a leadership role before I was ready.
Background on that, I guess.
Well, again, I thought the fact that being an exceptional listing agent, buyer's agent, or just all around agent, whatever, and doing a high volume. And doing it at a really good level and getting, people that are happy with you and excited to see you when they see you in the supermarket, not looking the other way kind of thing.
Yeah.
Does not translate into being a good leader. And people, I thought that, reading all the leadership books and all that would help. And I think it was like 2018 is when I actually had the epiphany because I came into Cummings trying to build a team. I had given up on the whole idea of being number one individual. Mm-hmm. But going into 2019, ironically enough, I said, I'm done. I'm just going to focus on... My thought was I'm going to focus on becoming somebody I'd want to follow and just let the chips fall where they may. And, that introduced me to...
Your best year.
Well, yeah. It was my best year, right.
You just focused on yourself.
It was... I got back to just basics. Instead of trying to show other people how to do it, I just... got back to doing it myself kind of thing. And when I made that, it was so weird when I made that decision is when I met, Dawn and Carrie came into my life, and Carrie was
Carrie Wood,
a transaction coordinator, and Dawn was a showing assistant. So
Carrie and Dawn.
I was still technically an individual agent.
Yeah.
But I was able to, definitely having people that, she had my same standard as far as executing a contract with precision and making sure that things are done properly.
Yeah.
Right. It was really good, but.
And you've kind of continued along that path of just focusing on yourself, and I, and you've been doing great.
Yeah. Well, yeah. In 2019, I had again, it was one of my best years ever, and I made my goal of being number one at Cummings, and I thought that meant I was ready to jump back into leadership, and I still hadn't yet. I had a few nudges in 2019 for me to get into the Bible and read it because at that point I had never met Jesus or had any type of religious background or anything like that. I didn't grow up around any church.
Gotcha.
I just didn't think that was real. So I had kind of a life-changing experience in 2020 when the whole world shut down. It was almost like God was saying, how about now? Do you have time now? Because in 2019, again, it was my best year ever.
Yeah.
I was reading my goal was a book a week that year.
Wow.
That was my goal. And I think by week one, I'd already read like 3 books, right? So I was on fire all around.
Okay.
But
COVID shutdown gave you time and you got into reading the Bible?
Yeah.
And still are into reading the Bible.
Oh yeah, every day. It's like
yeah.
I'm so fascinated by it and understanding that it's one of those. I've never read a book that can continue to give you insight.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of the insight is affirmational things I've done right in my life. Right. It's like almost like a guide metric on how to be exceptional, and ultimately how to be an effective leader. Right. Because I think Jesus gives us the best example. Right. He's the cornerstone.
Yeah.
Right. He's not the top, trying to get everybody to do it at the bottom. What he does is he kind of like what you do. You set the foundation. Right. And if the foundation is correct, everything that follows is going to be on point.
All right, I like that.
Right, so you enable.
Yeah,
you don't dictate down
gotcha.
or try and create a framework where if people just do this. That's what I try to do. All you gotta do is this, and this. Well, most people don't do that, and they're not gonna do it.
Yeah, I'm trying to enable everyone to start working on my Cummings soon database stuff that I'm trying on Agent Tools. So I'm going to try to lead you guys down this path, which I'm coming out with some more stuff soon to talk about. Anything like new going on in your business? Are you using AI? Like anything on that regard?
Yeah, I've been using AI for about 3 years.
Are you a ChatGPT person? Which one?
I do use ChatGPT. I have it built in. Like I don't know. I mean, you remember? I don't know if you remember or not. But one of the first experiences I had at Cummings was because I record all my calls and all my texts is all through Void, so I can have access to it across platforms, and it all integrates with my follow-up system. So I always have, I don't have the greatest memory. I've had a lot of concussions and things like that. So I got to make sure everything's in place, right?
Yeah.
So there's a system for everything.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with a potential client, and her son, who was a commercial agent out of DC, had made this like crazy claim and based on our conversation. And because you were able to listen to the conversation, it was a beautiful call. It was like it was so beautiful.
Yes.
How I'm just trying to encourage this lady to understand I can't meet her at a property. It was a whole thing. But his claims were so baseless, and the way you just went after the guy in my defense, because look, I listened to the call, I saw all the text messages. It was so professional and beautiful.
That was a moment of like a bonding moment for us.
Oh, dude, I'm at that moment. I'm like, I'm taking a bullet for this guy.
Thank you.
And when I say Dave, when I say that I mean it, brother.
Thank you. You don't have to take a bullet for me, but yes, Mark had a situation which I inserted myself and made my feelings very potent and clear to that guy.
Yeah, man, it was cool.
And Mark has always been appreciative to me ever since then. There was a lot of push right after that happened for people to go to EXP and stuff because COVID was going on, and you were like, I called you. I remember you saying, I was saying like, hey, I know some other folks are going. I know you got to do what's best for you, but just trying to get ahead of it. You think you're going over there, and you're like, dude, after you helped me with that one thing, I'm blue and gold for life or whatever. I was like, thank you, I appreciate that, because that was
among other reasons.
That was a stressful time for me.
And among other reasons. Trust me, I always, like I told Wendy, everything happens for a reason, and there is no coincidences. I had always told Wendy, I said, if I ever left Remax, I would. Dave would be
Wendy's
my
his
choice.
wife, by the way.
Yeah, sorry. I just assume everybody knows Wendy, like Mark and Wendy, kind of like But
how long you guys been married?
We've been married since 2005, but I've been married to her since 1999.
I was going to say,
is when I decided I was going to marry.
Was it
actually? It might have been
high school, middle school.
It might have been 2000. Oh, it was at my buddy Dan's wedding. Is when I knew I was going to marry her.
All right. Were you in college or?
No, I had dropped out. I just wasn't into it, man, and it wasn't for me. And I was too much. I was a wandering generality, man. I had no direction, I didn't know what I was going to do, and I just made a lot of money. I knew I liked waiting tables because I had a lot of jobs. I did various things. I always worked hard, whatever I did.
Yeah.
But that business was the only business where I could affect the outcome. Right. I mean, I did telemarketing. I liked that because I could affect the outcome.
Yeah.
But the amount of money I left with at the end of the night was directly related to how I treated people all day, and I treated people exceptionally, and I made a lot of money. I made more money than the people around me.
Right. Parlay that into real estate, taking good care of people, and then it just leads into referrals.
Yeah. I mean, I had. I learned a lot of great lessons from my old man as far as work ethic and doing more than what you're paid to do. And then, ironically enough, when I started mentoring and reading and studying people like Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar and that's their philosophy. You got to do more than what you're paid to do. You know what I mean? So I'm seeing how a lot of these things correlate. And then you read the Bible and it tells you what? He who gets the most serves the most, right? These principles are foundational, and it's all about how you approach every day. That's why, like I suit up, not because I want to show people that it's not about being showy or anything. It's about showing people that I'm serious about my business. And when I meet somebody and they don't know me, there's a credibility there, right?
Yeah, yes.
And that'll only take you so far, right? Everything else that follows is what it is. But the cornerstone's right, so everything is
taken care of.
It's good.
Yeah, you have a presentation all the way through. That's great.
Yeah.
Any fun facts or anything for us? Anything going on this summer? You guys doing anything good? Or just any personal world stuff?
Yeah, well, we're getting ready. My daughter Macy's getting ready to take a trip to Italy.
Nice.
So we're gearing up for that. I can't believe that my baby's going into 11th grade. I have 3 children. My youngest Macy's in 11th grade at NDP.
Nice.
My daughter Michaela is 18. She graduated last year from NDP. And
Blazers, right?
Yeah, she's a saint
Blazers.
now. She's a Flagler saint.
They used to be the Pirates. Okay, she's a saint.
Yeah, my son graduated from Flagler.
Nice.
And is starting George Mason Law in the fall.
Very cool.
So
way taller than you now, I bet. I remember.
Oh man, he's killing it in every aspect, man. He's good looking. He's tall. He's going a lot. I mean, he's I couldn't have built a better son. But so we're gearing up for that. We're probably gonna head to the beach for the holiday.
Nice. 4th of July.
Yeah, I didn't. This holiday season, I was very busy. I introduced 3 properties on Friday, so I didn't really get much of a break.
We're just coming off a Memorial Day weekend right now. Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Well, appreciate Mr. Novak for doing this with me.
Thanks for having me, man.
I hope that this was insightful.
So low energy, the lights went out.
Oh, no worries. You're great. And also, another new thing for us is you can follow us on Spotify now. Just search Cummings Cast in Spotify, and you can watch it there. So Missy Hammett, when you're on your run, you don't have to watch it on YouTube. You can watch it on your favorite little app, Spotify. So check us out there. Thank you, guys. Have a great rest of your day.